Fala galera, tudo bem com vocês? Sejam muito bem-vindos ao canal Repeat After Me Idiomas. Eu sou o William, seu professor de inglês, e hoje estamos com um convidado muito especial, Quentin McCain. Ele é um motivador, um palestrante motivador, né? Ele é coach também, e ele também tem um livro, um best-seller, que se chama 99 Meditative Messages to Make Your Day. É um livro muito interessante, eu recomendo bastante. Eu vou deixar inclusive o link aqui na descrição para vocês, caso queiram comprar, tá bom? Fiquem à vontade. Se você não é inscrito no canal ainda, já se inscreva, deixa aquele like e vamos pro vídeo. Mr. Quentin, thank you so much for accepting this invitation to take part in this interview with us. Thank you so much.
Definitely. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So basically, first question that I have for you is, would you explain us a little bit about your background, your name, where you live, what you do for a living?
Yeah, definitely. So my name is Quentin McCain. A lot of people call me Q or Coach Q.
All right.
And I'm from Phoenix, Arizona, in the United States. And a little bit about my background. I grew up with a single mom, and I was kind of in the streets when I was younger, kind of running the streets a little bit, hanging out with the gangs and stuff, and I had a number of things that happened in my life that kind of shaped who I thought I was then. And then probably about 2009, I started getting into personal development just for my own development and growth.
Okay.
And from then on, it just became like a positive development in my life. And I just started getting more into seminars and speaking and coaching and all these different things. And that's where that lands me today. I wrote a best-selling book, as you mentioned. It's called Think on These Things, 99 Meditative Messages to Make Your Day. And my mom and I wrote that book together, actually. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah. Other than that, I coach and speak internationally. So I've coached people in about 12 different countries, I believe. And it's on all mindset, productivity, limiting beliefs, how to overcome stress, anxiety, how to be more productive, things like that.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I saw just a little bit about the book. I was looking for the other day just to get to know a little bit. And I think it's really interesting. And I'm consider myself buying this book because I think it's really nice. And myself, I really like personal development. I think it's a subject really important nowadays because so many people have depression, so many people have lack of confidence on themselves. And
Right.
the things you say, it's really nice and it's really true. So if people follow this advice, they're going to get better in their lives for sure. So that's why I think it's really interesting, this book. Guys, buy this book. It's really interesting. I'm going to let the link below. And all right, now my question for you, Quentin, is how do you define the importance of this job of a coach in people's lives nowadays?
Yeah. Well, I think it's always been important, right? I just think it's a little more out in the open now. People aren't as embarrassed to say that they have a coach now. And, because there are some stigmas around therapy or coaching or even asking for help, sometimes. I think especially for men sometimes, it's like hard to say that, you're struggling with your, emotions or your thoughts. And so I think it's just really important, especially these days when we've gone through, pandemic and people have been home for so long, and just being at home, closed indoors, just alone with your thoughts sometimes is not the best place to be, right? You have to sometimes get that outside perspective or get help from someone like a coach to get past certain thoughts or beliefs that have maybe held you back from certain goals that you have in life.
Yeah, when you introduced yourself in the beginning of the video, you explained a little bit why you decided to study a little bit about personal development, because for your self-development, as you said. But when you decided to write your book, right, the bestseller book, which is Think on These Things, 99 Meditative Messages to Make Your Day. why did you decide to create this book? To help others, or you were just you wanted just to show on this book what you had been through before in the past, and you wanted to show people how to do different, or how was the intention of this book actually?
Right. So at this point, this was for others because I started out for myself, like I mentioned, but as time went on, my mom and I were thinking, you know what, like these things that we're learning that have helped us so much, we can use these things to help other people now. So that is how we started writing the book, and the book, it's an easy read, Part of the reason I wrote it how I did was because at that time, I didn't read a lot, but I wanted to get more into reading. I know there's a lot of people that maybe haven't read a book for a long time, right? Especially for their own development, personally or professionally. So this book is just one page a day, right? And I do have it here. So
nice.
Yeah, it's just one page a day, and you can see, kind of in here.
Yeah.
It's one page a day, and it has like a journal in there so that when you read the one page, that gives you ideas or a thought to think about for that one day. And then the journal portion is where you can write down thoughts, action steps, goals related.
Like a kind of homework, right? You just read one page a day, like you can read at night or in the morning to start your day. Then you make like your homework, and then you start your day better with your advices and everything, right?
Exactly.
Wow, yep. That's really, really nice. And what year was that? You said 2019? You wrote?
So the book was published in 2016, actually.
Oh, 16. All right.
Yep.
Oh, that's really nice. I'm sure it helped a lot of people around the world, because it's really, really interesting, the book. Now, I want to touch a very delicate subject, which is depression, anxiety, lack of confidence that people have nowadays. Most of people in the world have this issue. Most of them don't even know how to express this. And that's when enter the job of a coach to help to improve people's skill and show that people can be confident on themselves to succeed in life. My question for you is, what do you think we can do to get rid of these things that happens with people like depression, anxiety, lack of confidence? How can we get rid of this?
Well, I mean, there's a few things that come to my mind, but I would say the thing to think about is like how these things come about. And it all starts with our thoughts, right? Okay. So I'll put it like this. So the words we use are typically like the first step that I'd start telling people to start focusing on, because your words lead to a certain emotion. Even if it's like a split second and you don't think about it because it's such a habit, your words, they have certain energy behind them and they lead to a certain emotion. And that emotion that you have after that is going to make you have a certain behavior. Right. So the more you do that, it becomes a cycle and it becomes a habit. And those kind of things, negative thoughts, limiting beliefs over time can become anxiety or depression. Right. So I start telling people the easiest way to start changing that in your life is to start with your words. And an example of that would be most people that you come across that might deal with anxiety or depression or negative thoughts, right? They're going to most likely have a certain language pattern. They're going to say things like, oh man, of course I did that. I'm an idiot. Oh, well, I'm dumb. I'm clumsy. I'm not smart. Right. So those things repeated over time, they become a habit, right? And the more you say them, you feel something inside. Even if you don't think about it anymore, or you've become numb to it, you're still going to feel something inside. And that feeling is going to make you behave a certain way. So if you truly believe that you were dumb, idiot, clumsy, how do you think that's going to make you act? Right? It's going to make you act a certain way. Right? So when you have those thoughts over and over and over again, like I'm not good at meeting people, or I'm not good at relationships, it's going to show up in your behavior and it's going to become a self-fulfilling prophecy, right?
Like a circle, right? Yeah, it
Yeah.
comes to you. I agree with you because I have some students that they just think, no, some people can speak 4, 3, 5 languages. I just want to learn a second language. How can I do that? And they think it's impossible to learn, but in fact, it's not impossible. If you dedicate yourself, if you work hard, you're gonna get it. It's just
Exactly.
dedication. It's just. But one question for you over what you just said. For example, in your opinion, do you think that the negative words have the same power of the positive words? For example, if I say, no, I'm good, I can do that, do you think that helps as well my confidence on doing what I want to succeed, for example?
I once heard someone say that for every negative word, you need to replace it with 10 positive words. So whether that's true or not, I don't know. But I think part of that would be um, we have to think about how long we've been saying those negative words. It might be 10 years, 20 years, 30 years for some people. So it is a process, right? You have to retrain your mind to think this way, but it is possible. So what I always tell people is once you make the decision that I'm going to change my language and start changing the way I think about things, I tell them just say out loud, when you say something like, oh, I'm dumb, or I don't understand, I never get this stuff. It's okay to say, you know what? I didn't mean to say that. What I really want to say is I'm learning, right? That's not a lie, because some people think, well, I'd be lying if I said I was the happiest person in the world. I don't tell people to go around saying things like that, right? Because you're not going to believe it anyways, right? I would put it something positive, but also true, right?
Yeah.
Instead of saying I'm dumb, you can say, okay, let me understand this better, right? Or I am learning, right? Or I'm getting better every day, right?
Yeah.
Switch it. Even if you said it the way that you didn't want to at first, it's okay to switch it and say, no, this is what I really want to say. The more you do that, you're going to get in the habit of switching it. And sooner or later, you're just going to go to your new default, which is the more positive language.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And it makes me remind another thing that I'd like to ask you is, for example, that's when we think about ourselves on how to do something. But for example, if most people have inside of their home, like a father or a mother or a wife that don't believe in themselves, and most of the times they say, no, you're not able to do that. And people say negative thoughts on this person. This person can be the most motivated person in the world, but if someone keeps telling, no, you can't do that, because most people say that because they can't do something and they think people cannot do just like them. They say, no, I'm a loser and he's a loser as well. Something like this.
Right.
What do you think about this? What advice you have for people that have this inside their home and they have friends that say that all the time to them and demotivated the person? What advice do you have for these people?
Yeah. Yeah. So that's interesting because I'm currently so I have a membership program as well. And so we just are going through that type of lesson right
Really?
now.
Oh, that's
Um
nice.
and, and right now the subject that we're studying at this very moment is comfort zone. So one of the things we talked about is sometimes there are people in your comfort zone, circumstances in your comfort zone, situations in your comfort zone, right? So, you know, a lot of times those people have been in your comfort zone, right? And you're okay with that. But when you start stepping out of that comfort zone, you're going to get some resistance. So, one or two things going to happen. You're either going to shift them to where you're at, they're going to shift you to where they're at, right?
Yeah.
Or you're going to part ways. Sometimes that's a sad reality, but sometimes you have to if you're headed towards a certain direction and people are trying to pull you back, right?
Exactly. I totally agree with you. And another thing that I wanted to mention is I was looking on your Instagram account and I was just checking on a coach session you were doing on personal development, right? And I remember that you said something that patience is the key to succeed on life, something like this. Nowadays, people want things for now. For example, I want to be a soccer player, but I want to be famous tomorrow. I can't wait 3 years to do that. People don't have
Right.
patience to get that. And I agree on what you said. I think it's really true. We're not patient nowadays. Do you think that's why people give up on what they want, for example, for life? For example, a student that wants to learn how to speak English or French or Spanish, they just stay like 3 months and say, no, that's not for me, and they quit. Do you think that's the reason? Patience is really the key to succeed, in your opinion?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, all of those things, patience, persistence, right?
Yeah,
Because I mean, to go with your example, I'm a lover of languages. I speak Spanish as well.
amazing.
And I've been learning Portuguese pretty rapidly, probably because I speak Spanish. That's helped me a lot too.
Oh, that's
But
nice.
but with any language, even, right, or anything really, any goal,
Mhm.
you have to put the time in. There are no shortcuts to success, right?
Yeah, success
Um,
doesn't happen overnight, right?
there's this quote that kind of comes to mind, and it's the elevator to success is broken. You're gonna have to take the stairs.
Yeah, that's a nice one.
Yep, the elevator to success is broken. You're gonna have to take the stairs. So that's what we got to do. We got to take the stairs. You want to learn English? You want to learn Spanish, Portuguese, whatever, French, right? You got to take the
Yeah.
stairs. You got to put in the daily work, the things that are going to move the needle forward for you.
Oh, that's really,
Most
really nice.
people, most people quit too soon, and then they say, "Well, that didn't work. I tried it." You know,
Yeah,
but
but
did
they
you
didn't
really
try
try? You know?
as they would, right? Sometimes some things like take more than other. Of course,
Mhm.
people are different. They think differently. Some people
Right.
learn easier. Some people have more time to dedicate themselves on something. And for example, if I study and work at the same time, it's different of a routine of someone that just studies and don't have to worry about to work and everything. And that comes to the question that I'm going to ask you right now, which is about production. Some people think that they are not productive somehow. Do you have any advice to be more productive and to be more organized in our routine?
Yeah, definitely. So, well, with productivity, I feel like a lot of people feel like productivity is getting more things done each day,
Mhm.
but really productivity is getting the important things done consistently. What I always tell people is you have to plan it. Success is a planned event, right? So you have to plan out anything that you want to do.
Mhm.
If it's going to the gym, you have to ask yourself, do I have it on my calendar? Right? Is it in your calendar, or are you just like, oh, I'll go sometime between 6 and noon, right? That's not much of a plan, right? Because sometimes you might do it, and sometimes you're like, oh, dang, oh man, I was working, it got away from me, I was on the phone. When you have it planned, that's a constant reminder, like, hey, this is what you're supposed to be doing at this time. So it's time blocking. It's called time blocking. You block out time for what's important. So I tell people, choose like the three major things that have to get done today, write them down, have them by your bed. And when you get up, you're like, okay, these are these three things I need to do. They're in my calendar. These are the times I have set aside for them. And it's a little tedious at first, right? But once you get in the habit of that, that's real productivity.
Yeah, yeah, I totally agree with that. And Quentin, answer me something. I would like to know, myself, for example, I don't watch the news. I don't like to watch the news or TV in general. I don't watch because I prefer to dedicate myself to my studies, on my family, my son, uh, and I don't have time to watch actually TV. But when watching, for example, the news is unproductive, or how it can harm people's lives, in your opinion?
Well, you have to think about what it is you're letting into your mental space, you know? And the question to ask, and this is something else we talk about in the membership program, is you have to ask, is this in alignment with what I want? You know?
Mhm.
So you have to look at your surroundings. Are the movies or Netflix series you're watching? Are the books you're reading? Are the people that you're hanging around, the relationships you're involved in? Are those in alignment with the goals that you say you want? And I think that will give you the answer of if whatever you're doing is, going to help you or hinder your growth.
I got you. Yeah, totally true. Even though, because, for example, sometimes TV can be helpful on some matters. People get up to date on things, on the war, on the pandemic, or whatever. But sometimes most things that happen that say on TV is just to get people sick, like psychologically. People get sick all the time just watching negative things on TV. And that can be destruction on their plans, on their lives, and that's why I asked you this question, because TV, if you don't know how to use TV, it can
Sure.
harm everything on your life, right?
Yeah. And I mean, everything needs to be within reason, right? I mean, I'm not saying that you can never watch TV, right? Or you can
Yeah.
never do anything, fun with your friends, right? But if you say you have a certain goal to reach, right? But you're out drinking every night with friends, it's going to be a lot harder for you to reach that goal because you're not carving out the time to work on that goal, right?
Yeah,
So that's where the time blocking comes in, right?
exactly.
Maybe you block out the time to hang out with your friends. Okay, I'll hang out with you guys on, Friday, but the rest of the weekend I'm working on my business, right? Or, whatever it is you're working on.
Yeah. Quentin, last question for you on this interview is actually something really important for me, and I think for everyone, which is most people start a project, and in the middle of the project, they just cancel it, they give up. Do you have any advice for people that cannot finish a project on themselves?
Yeah, I think you have to ask yourself and remind yourself to why you were doing it in the first place, right? And I think the why has to be big, because I don't care if you love it or not. That journey is most likely going to be a bumpy road, right? It's not always a gold paved road, right, to what you want to do. It's going to be bumpy. So if you don't love it, you're not passionate about it, or if you haven't really thought about a big enough why you want to do this, it's going to be easy to knock you off of your goals, right? So if you have that big enough why and you have it written down, or you have your purpose statement written down, you need to have that in front of you every day, right? And remind yourself of why you're doing it, because those times when you feel like quitting, that's what you need to look at and say, okay, I need to continue this. I need to do this, right?
Yeah, you gotta have like an inspiration to keep moving, to keep going on the project. I totally agree with that. Quentin, really, that was a very enriching conversation, interview. I appreciate very much your time, the advice that you gave for our audience. I think they're gonna love it. And I just wanna ask if you have any things to share with us, any other thoughts you wanna say, talk about your book or something.
What I would say is, I think this is a very important subject. So, I really appreciate you having me on the show today. And if there are any people out there that really want to work on their personal growth, like I mentioned, we do have a membership program, and it's very, very low entry to get in the program. And we're doing trainings all year long, weekly. So you can find out more about that at theleadersedge.online. That's theleadersedge.online, not .com, theleadersedge.online. And if you scroll all the way to the bottom, you'll see the membership program. And this is just our way of really giving back, because not everybody can afford one-on-one coaching, or they might need a little trust building to get there, right?
Exactly.
So it's a way that we can really provide a lot of value all year long, weekly, at a low investment. So
That's awesome. Quentin, thank you so much. God bless you and your family and your projects. And success.
Likewise.
Success, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank
Likewise.
you. Bye-bye.